Good evening. This is the December 13th, 2022 City Council closed session. I'll just note for the record that this closed session is adjourned due to lack of a quorum.
I call the December 13th, 2022 meeting to order. Madam City Clerk, would you kindly inform the public how they can participate this evening?
Thank you, Mayor. This meeting is here live in person in council chambers. It's also on our website at fullerton.legistar.com and on our government public access channels. The public can address City Council here in person in chambers, or they can do it virtually by joining the Zoom meeting online or by telephone. To join the Zoom meeting, you can go to zoom.us/join or call 1-669-900-9128 and enter Zoom meeting ID 978-4219-1797, and all the information is also on our agenda.
Thank you for that. Madam City Clerk, would you kindly call the roll?
Mayor Jung?
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker?
Here.
Councilmember Dunlap? Councilmember Silva?
Here.
Councilmember Zara?
Here.
And for this evening's invocation, I'd like to invite Police Chaplain John Schaefer to give us our invocation this evening. Good evening, sir.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I just want to start by saying it was my opportunity or my privilege to go to Ukraine at the end of November, and I came home and I said, thank God I live in America. Thank God I live in a place and in a country where people can exchange the authority of power in a peaceful way, in an agreeable way. And it seems to me that's something we should give thanks for. So let's pray. God, I thank you for the many blessings we have that we take for granted. Things like elected officials to represent us, to hear our voice, to have the opportunity to speak, to be able to walk down our street, to have clean water, to have electricity. I pray for all of our elected officials, our president, our senators, our governor, our congressmen, our congresswomen, our city council members. I ask that you would guide them, direct them, give them wisdom as they oversee the responsibilities of the city, that you would just affirm them, help them to do what you had called them to do, and allow us to support them and in a very civil and loving way cooperate with them as they try to navigate many difficult things. Amen.
Thank you, sir. If I can call on Councilmember Silva to lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
Right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Give a moment this evening for City Council and staff reports. I'll look to my left. Councilmember Silva, do you mind going last this evening on the report, sir?
Yes.
All right, very well. Councilmember Dunlap? Very well. I will look to my right. Councilmember Zara?
I will have some comments maybe at the end.
All right, very well, sir. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, I wanted to thank those who attended the Christmas tree lighting ceremony, and it's really nice and heartwarming this year to see some symbols of the holiday season ahead of all of us. There was also a good event at the Fullerton Museum involving Italian-American baseball families, a follow-up of the Lasorda Legacy display, which is showing through the end of December at the Fullerton Museum. And that's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Silva, anything, sir?
There's just a couple of things, but I do want to, on the we will have a speaking part at item number 3, right? Outgoing council member recognition.
Indeed, sir.
So I will hold my comments till then, so I'll start now just by saying I want to thank the staff and all the city staff for all the efforts they've made to keep our city going forward during these kind of rough last 2-3 years. But with that, I'll hold further comments till towards the end. Thank you.
Very well, sir. Mr. City Manager, anything to report?
I have no comments tonight.
Thank you. We'll move on to public comments. Those who have registered to speak, please come up to the podium. We're now at the podium, which is a good sign. Madam City Clerk, will you be kind enough as to call the first public comment?
We have 3 names registered for public comment: Bernard, Curtis Gamble, and Cynthia Santillan. If whoever's closest comes to the podium, the rest can line up on this wall furthest from me.
Hello, my name is Bernard, and I am a Fullerton resident. Councilmember Silva, I want to thank you for your service to our city. As the only Latino on council, you sure were treated poorly and even cut out of your own district. But I hope that you know that you are appreciated, and I hope you do run again. Council members are congratulations on a strong win. Despite being attacked in the most heinous ways, you won with dignity. I hope this council respects the will of the people and not block you from being mayor. District 5 deserves mayoral representation. Dr. Sheena Charles, congratulations on a well-deserved win and welcome to the council. I look forward to your service. Go Bruins.
Next comment, please.
Next speaker is Curtis Gamble, and then after that will be Cynthia Santillan.
Mr. Gamble, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council. My name is Curtis Gamble, activist for the homeless, veterans, and low income. I just like to say thank you, Councilman Stilwell, for all that you've done. We have accomplished many things on behalf of the community. I think I've been at probably most of the meetings that you were attending here at the council. So again, congratulations to you, and continue to do good work. And I personally look forward to seeing you back here in about 2 years. So I just want to say that. And also to the new council members that are coming in, congratulations on your wins. I know it was hard, but now it probably gets even harder because of the decisions and things that you have to make. But I'm glad that I would be a part of that and be here to support you. And I think that we can work really well together. And going back to Councilman Silva, I like to say also, your wife, Sharon Cork Silva, I just like to say thank you to her also, because I know you guys work together. And because I work on the homeless issues big time, and Sharon Cork Silva has gotten many bills passed that help Fullerton out. And so I just want to, again, say thank you guys to everybody, and look forward to working with you.
Thank you. Final comment, please.
Next speaker is Cynthia Santillan, followed by Teresa Lim.
Hi, good evening, council members. Thank you for this time. Congratulations, Councilman Zara, on your reelection, and Dr. Charles on your election. I wanted to use this time for public comment to reference the Planning Commission meeting that we had recently on the Pines housing development. The community feels very devastated with that 5-0 vote. And there's a lot of ambiguity still regarding state laws involving housing that are very new and that will go into effect in July. Commissioner Gambino expressed kind of being, left powerless, that the local control is being taken away. He stated that housing laws are being pushed down from the state up to 60 dwelling units per acre, coming down from individuals that represent us in Sacramento. Chairman Cox suggested that study sessions should be imperative moving forward when we're considering zoning changes. I'd like to ask the mayor and the council members, before Sunrise Village is put on an agenda again for a public hearing, the public is requesting a study session. We would like to understand AB 2011 and the different housing laws that are going to impact us a little bit more. When we've asked our commissioners and even elected officials, and even, city attorney, more specifics about these laws, there's still a lot of ambiguity and unknowns. So we feel that a study session should be in order so that we understand what's at stake, what the risks are before a next public hearing regarding this property. We would like you to consider this request and not rush it. We've always had a spirit of collaboration, and so we don't want to be in a position where we feel this is rushed and our questions aren't being answered. So if you would please consider a study session and get some experts together to address some questions about what happens July 1st, 2023, when AB 2011 goes into effect and some of the SBs. So I think nobody here is the expert because this is all so new. So we ask that you listen to the community and allow us that opportunity for a study session. And for not just for this property, but for others that will be considered down the line. I think it'll really sit well with the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next comment, please.
Next speaker is Teresa Lim, followed by Eddie Carmona.
Hi, I'm also addressing the Pines development. Last week at the Planning Commission meeting, James O'Malley presented a slide, and on that slide it said, it was recently discovered, quote, that uses at Imperial Spa have caused the contamination of soil and is now being analyzed by DTSC. So that's very concerning, obviously. But after I went up back to the Department of Toxic Substance and Control website, and I found the application that Shopoff initiated, because they obviously have to pay a fee to start. And the toxic, and the report actually says it comes from the dry cleaners and not the Imperial Spa. And they have already dug samples around the dry cleaners, but they haven't gone inside yet. So there's obviously a long process to detoxify that place, I guess. And I just wanted also to request a study session on what it takes to clean up that site, because that site has been there since 1980, that dry cleaner. And before that, it was agriculture with a lot of pesticides. So obviously, we need to understand, what's at stake. Especially 50 feet away, there's a preschool, and that site is not owned by Shopoff. And obviously, senior homes behind the place is also less than about 50 feet. So they probably need to be involved in asking questions on what's involved. It's different than Hughes. Hughes was like, one big localized area, but this is next to people that are living day to day. And we need to understand that, especially those preschool little children. So I also request that you delay putting this on the agenda until we understand what it takes. And I do have a contact at the DTSC, and he's been very responsive, and I'm sure he would love to talk to the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Next speaker, Eddie Carmona, followed by Eglis Nunzi.
Mr. Carmona.
Hi. Good evening, Mayor, Council. Seasonal greetings to everybody in attendance. I want to take this time to thank Councilmember Silva for his decade-year-long service to the city of Fullerton. It doesn't seem long to me. Long ago, where I met him at a Starbucks where I used to work, and now, I have a career, and it's meant a lot to me. So, on behalf of the residents of the city of Fullerton, thank you, and I hope to see you again up there sometime soon.
Next comment, please.
Next speaker is Eglis Nunsi, followed by MJ Noor.
Ms. Newsy, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. I would like to congratulate Councilman Sarah for always being a champion for District 5, for bringing, so much information and education to our community. Thank you so much for your dedication, Councilman Sarah. You are well appreciated. We're very happy to have you here for 4 more years representing District 5. And to, congratulate our wonderful Dr. Shayna Charles, because she's representing in this dais, all the women here in Fullerton. We're so happy to have her here. And this is for all of us, women have somebody representing us in the diocese is, a great honor. And I would like to, congratulate our amazing, Councilman Jesus Silva. Thank you, Councilman Silva, from the bottom of my heart, because you've always been a champion for all of us. During the pandemic, you were the person to call, and you always came and helped our community, gift cards, providing food, working hard, for all of us. Thank you so much for everything you do for all of us. We really appreciate you, and we hope to see you in 2024, and to have you here with all of us. Thank you for your service and your dedication, not just here in the dais, but as a teacher, and always involving our school district in education, our children, bringing the key of education for all of us to, for always seek a better future for our community. En el nombre de toda nuestra comunidad latina, concejal Jesús Silva, muchas gracias por su dedicación, por su amor a nuestra comunidad, por siempre ser un campeón y estar presente cuando lo necesitamos más, por traer recursos, comida, tarjetas de regalo, ayudar a nuestra comunidad. Se lo agradecemos del fondo de nuestro corazón. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next speaker
Next
is
comment, please.
MJ Noor, followed by Joseph Holper.
Good evening, Ms. Noor.
Hi, good evening. I'm MJ, founder of the Parents Voice USA. You guys did an outstanding job in supporting the Parents Voice in the event that we had at the community center. It was sold out, outstanding event. We had the professors from Cal State Fullerton that spoke about black holes. I can't tell you how encouraging you are for education. And I also want to say, this is a city that has dynamic focus on further education. I want to also specifically thank the city manager for his dedication in making it happen. And every one of you I should really recognize individually. But I think you understand how important the parents' voice is for this city. And I want to let you know that we respect this board, and we thank you from the bottom of our heart. Tonight I'm here because Mr. Zahra was reelected. Very proud of him. He comes from a country that represents education, or respects education, I should say. And now he's in a city that promotes education. Please don't lose focus of this. And just as a small appreciation, I'll give this to the city manager, to the mayor. I want to thank you all for your help. And always remember, it's not the kids, it's not the teachers, it's not just the community in large. It's the parents. They're here for you, they elect you, they support you, and they love you. And thank you very much. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk,
Next
next
speaker
comment, please.
is Joseph Holper, followed by Karime Calixto.
Hello, Mayor, council members. I just wanted to come up here and to extend a congratulations on behalf of Presidio and 2M to Ahmad Zara for a re-election win, and just to thank all of you for your continued efforts and service to the city of Fullerton, and wish you the best for this upcoming year. So congratulations, Ahmad, and best of luck, everyone.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk,
Karime
next comment,
Calixto
please.
is next, and then the last speaker I have is Jesse Jones.
Thank you. Good evening.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm just here to congratulate the new council member and Mr. Sarah for the new re-election and say not goodbye, see you later, and hope you run for the following 2 years. And I'm just going to add to what Iglet said that thank you for everything you've done for our community. I know sometimes we disagree in some topics, but I think that's what the community is about. It's like, we all try to work together, and sometimes it doesn't work, but that doesn't mean we lose respect, and I respect you for everything. Thank you so much, and have a great year, everyone.
Thank you.
And our last in-chamber speaker is Jesse Jones.
Good evening.
Good evening and happy holiday. I'm Jessie Jones, Director of the Center for Healthy Neighborhoods. I'm here tonight for 3 reasons. One, Ahmad Zara, congratulations on re-election. It's a tribute to all the work that you've done in District 5, listening to the voice of the community residents. You're out there every week listening to them, and I want to thank you for that, and congratulations on your reelection. And also, Ahmad and Jesus, both of you, and Jesus, your wife, Sharon Quicksilva, the amount of money that the team has brought in, I want to thank you. Bringing this money in to part of a community to provide services to marginalized communities is only going to help the entire city as we work together to lift each other. So I want to thank you for that. And congratulations, Jesus. I hope we see you again in another couple of years. And Shana Charles, congratulations. It's nice to see a woman up there. We need that type of energy. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, any
We have
comments on Zoom?
2 callers in Zoom.
Very well.
Kathy Yang, you should be able to unmute. Kathy Yang?
Yes, I just unmuted. I hope you can hear me now.
We can.
Okay, great. I'm here, just want to say thank you to Councilman Bruce Whitaker, and thank you for hearing the community and joining us on many community meetings. And in this time of difficult physical situations, the knowledge of a CPA and the physical discipline is very needed. So I hope you stay on and be the next mayor. And just want to say thank you for your contributions. Also, I want to say thank you to Mayor Fred Young, who, attended many meetings as well and heard the community. And I know it's difficult to balance the need of the community and also the state demands. And sometimes it's a very difficult decision. And thank you for putting the community first and be on our side. That's it. Thank you.
And our last Zoom caller, Diane Venna, you should be able to unmute.
Good evening, everyone. I want to start out by saying congratulations to Dr. Charles on running a really good, clean campaign and being willing to meet with people who have differences of opinion. And it shows me from the start that you're willing to do that. And I'm very happy that you won the election and you're going to be on the council. Congratulations also to Councilman Zara. You have done an excellent job the 4 years you've been on the council, and I want to thank you for running a clean campaign. And the fact that you were reelected shows how much everybody appreciates all that you do, including me. You've always answered my emails, responded to me, being willing to meet with me if I asked that. So I want to thank you, and I'm glad you're on the council. Councilman Silva, with a heartfelt thank you, I want to say you've done a wonderful job on the council. You are you wear your heart on your sleeve, you're transparent, you don't have any game playing, you're responsive to citizens and to the staff and to workers working to help all of us. And I want to say that I'm really going to miss you. We're all going to miss you on the council. Hope you will be back. I do want to say I'm sorry that it happened this way. I'm hoping that in the future, we will, next time we need to redistrict, we will have an independent commission to do that, just like the state does. You and Councilman Zara were in favor of that. The other three people were not, and I asked why. That's not to say anyone intentionally was biased, but it was affected by the council, by who was appointed, by decisions made, by the map made. And I don't think that was fair, and it should be independent going forward. So I hope this council sets that up as a priority. And I just want to say thank you for all you've done for us, and I will miss you. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, any more comments? Very well. We'll bring it back to council for regular business. Next item is November 8th, 2022 election results. Madam City Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. City Council, before you tonight, you have a draft resolution to certify results of the November 8th, 2022 general municipal election, which declares Shayna Charles the candidate receiving the most votes in City Council District 3, and Ahmad Zara is a candidate receiving the most votes in City Council District 5. Staff recommends that you take public comment on this item and adopt the resolution. And immediately following adoption, the two candidates will take their oath of office and be seated at the dais.
Very well. We'll seek public comment on this matter. Madam City Clerk, are there any registered?
And I have no one registered on this item in person or on Zoom.
Very well. Bring it back to council. I'll seek a motion to ratify the election results.
So moved. Second.
Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Dunlap.
Aye.
Councilmember Silva.
Aye.
Councilmember Zara.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker.
Aye.
Mayor Jung.
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
And the next is the oath of office for the newly elected city council members. Again, if there's no public comment, we'll go ahead and administer the oath. Are there any
No
registered?
Comments registered. And
Very well.
Councilmember Zara knows I'm ready for him. I see him standing up already. Please come to the floor. To the microphone. Back to pre-2020, if you can remember that setup.
First of all, I'd like to ask Ms. Juliana Nunzi to come up and stand with me. She's a student at Nicholas Junior High, I know, and is a champion of debate and top of her class. And she is also District 5's Young Woman of the Year of 2020. So I want her to stand with me. She's representing the new generation.
Would you like me here, over there?
Oh,
what's best for you?
However you want.
I'm already here. How about I do it from right here?
All right, sounds good.
And then we
sounds
both have a mic. So it's more important to hear you.
How about
but
we stand? Would you like to stand this way or this way?
does that work for everybody's photo
For
op?
pictures? Yeah, is that good?
You got my good side, so. Okay.
Little technical difficulties here.
That's okay. Now, if you're ready, you'll please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Ahmad Zara,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I would support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
That I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California.
and the Constitution of the State of California,
That I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion.
or purpose of evasion,
And that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter.
about which I'm about to enter.
And may this be the hardest thing you do for the next year.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Before you head back, but take your photos first if you need to.
And I'd like to ask my mom, visiting, to come up as well for some photos. And keep it, come on.
I'm just glad I know how long it is.
Is that set up okay for you? We can get the podium.
That's fine, I'm just gonna collect me the mic.
Or it'll just fall off its own.
Paparazzi.
We'll take some more photos up.
And can I get a signature on the bottom line? So you need a pen? There you go. And then we'll get that all sealed and official to you. Literally signing on the bottom line with these. Great, thank you, and I'll pretty it up and get it for you. You probably all know what's coming next. Council member-elect, if you would please join us. Do you have anyone that you would like to have join you?
Assemblywoman Sharon Quirk Silva, who's also former mayor of Fullerton, and has been quite a mentor to me. And I also want to recognize, I see Jan Flory and Pam Keller also here. They'll be up for pictures afterwards. My family have chosen to come up later.
Okay, great. If you'll do the same thing, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Shana Charles,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
That I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California.
and the Constitution of the State of California,
That I will take this obligation freely
that I will take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion.
or purpose of evasion,
And that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations, and may this also be the hardest thing you do in the next year.
Thank you so much for this whole journey. It is. Okay, and now my husband and daughter will join me for pictures. I have other family and friends
another chance to do a
online
full
on Zoom, and
introduction,
I appreciate them being with me virtually as well.
One, two, and three.
And before you run, can I get you to sign your oath very quickly?
I will sign it. Right.
Whoops, sorry, I didn't have it out. If I don't do it now, we won't catch you later.
No, this works.
Literally sign on the bottom line.
Right there?
And that's just exactly what we just read to you, yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Okay.
And now you may ascend to the dais, please.
If there are any acknowledgements or comments that our new council colleagues would like to make, I'll go right to left. Councilmember Zara.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. So, I'm often asked why I came to America, and I think the only answer I could always come up with is freedom. America, I found, isn't a place you come to. It's a place you fall in love with. And you have no idea how honored I am to have been elected to serve another term representing our city and the South Side neighborhoods I've called home for the last 21 years, in the country I'm in love with. I want to thank all the supporters, volunteers, and voters who entrusted in me this privilege and believed in our vision for a city that invests in its workers to improve our services and quality of life, from public works, parks, community and economic development, and our public safety, fire, and police. And an equitable city that provides affordable housing, local jobs, and economic opportunities for all its residents and for its future generation. I want to thank my appointed commissioners and everyone who collaborated with me over the last 4 years to improve our city, but with a special thanks to all the leader moms from the Center for Healthy Neighborhoods who have been a force for a positive change. And to my friend and sister from another mother, Eglith Nuncy, who I know she just left. Her daughter's going to a Billie Eilish concert. It's more important. Your kindness and hard work to improve our city has inspired me and helped me be a better council member. I want to thank the residents of Rancho La Paz, the Ventana, and Fulton Heights for demonstrating courage in the face of adversity. And to all those in our community who have faced bullying, harassment, discrimination, and abuse, I stand with you. I want to thank my family, my mom, my dad, who I haven't seen in 10 years, it's because of the war in Syria, so never take your family for granted. Our family have been divided over 3 continents. Thank you for raising me and loving me. To my sister, brother, and nephews, I love you. I know you'll watch this later. A big shout out to my peeps at the Meredith Manor. You know who you are. And Bernard, stay cool. And to Gustavo Navarro, thank you for your friendship. To my outgoing colleague, Jesus Silva, it's been a pleasure serving with you. And thank you for being a kind and thoughtful person on this dais. And of course, a big warm welcome to our newest council member, Dr. Shana Charles. Folks, we have many challenges ahead of us and tough decisions to make. But I know we have goodness in our city, goodness that will overcome the voices of hate, division, and self-interest. I'm hopeful that we can all work together, regardless of our differences, for the betterment of our community now and for the next generation. Thank you.
Councilmember Charles, any comments or acknowledgments you'd like to make this evening?
Thank you so much, Mayor Young, and it's nice to hear the words Councilmember Charles. I'll just start there. So I agree wholeheartedly with what my colleague Councilmember Zara said, especially about the issues, and I look forward to the next 4 years of working with him, as along with the other 3 members here on the dais, working with Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker, Mayor Young, and Councilman Dunlap as well, to move Fullerton in a great direction and build the city that we all want to live in, because we all live here together. I'm so grateful as I look around this room. I see so many faces who have helped me on this journey that I honestly did not intend to go on this year, but it ended up being the year that it needed to happen, just because that is the seat that was open, and I live in District 3. I also work there in my 8th year now as a professor at Cal State Fullerton, and honestly, it is so incredibly gratifying to have the dean who hired me, Dr. Jesse Jones, sitting here as well, who brought me back to Fullerton. So just from the heart, Fullerton is a city that I have lived in longer than anywhere else in my life at this point. Growing up in San Diego, moving to UCLA, and then I came to Fullerton by choice. Did not grow up here, but fell in love with this city. Raised my kids here. The kids are third generation Fullertonians. And my husband, Andre, bringing him here to Fullerton when we came down because of the tenure track position at Cal State Fullerton. And throughout my career, I've always worked on public health issues, which means really caring about everything, because it all comes down to our health. When I think of public health, I think of transportation. I think of urban planning. I think of design, urban design. Of course, parks and recreation. Of course, nutrition programs. Of course, dealing with code enforcement, but there's so much that the city has to offer that also helps people who live here have better public health. And I'm just so grateful that the voters of District 3 sent me here. Some of those voters who worked hard to send me here are sitting here, and I'm so grateful to each and every one of you for all of your work and helping me and coming out with me on weekends to talk to voters, going door to door and finding out the issues that our community needs and cares about. So I'm going to be here for 4 years. It's a new adventure. I am also still, I've had this question from many folks. I am still keeping my job at Cal State Fullerton as well. I am currently grading right now in finals. So you will still see me teaching on campus. I hope to be able to build a stronger bridge between the east side of Fullerton and over here where I live on the other side of the 57. Some people don't even know that is Fullerton, and of course, we who live there do. So I'm hoping that we can create a more integrated city in that way, promote diversity of opinion. And I want you to know I'm also going to bring to this office the ethos that I have as a public health professor, which is not only thinking about all those things as health, but in having office hours and having open communication. I really want all the members of the public here, online, anyone who watches this recording later, to know you will be able to reach me. I will respond to you as I do with all of my students. I will treat this city with the care and love as I do with my own career, and I absolutely want to help this city thrive. So thank you so much, and I look forward to working with you all.
Thank you. We now want to recognize Councilmember Jesus Silva for his remarkable years of service. Before we go to public comment, I did want to make sure that we acknowledge him generously. There's great nobility in public service, particularly in our version of local municipal service. There are no wealth or notoriety from the dedication that you have to give to be in this office. So I'd like to extend my personal gratitude to Councilmember Jesus Silva for his years of service both on the council and as a commissioner. He also served as our city's representative to the Orange County Sanitation District, the League of Cities, California Association of Governments, and the Mountain and Rivers and Mountains Conservancy. It's quite an impressive resume when you consider that his career as an educator, both at Nicholas Junior High School and now at Parks, has kept him quite busy, I'm certain. So he has kept the interests of Fullerton as his North Star, stewarded good public policy, and improved quality of life. You always tried to find a coalition amongst your colleagues, never found it beneath you to collaborate on difficult decisions. Tonight, we celebrate your service to our community, sir. I hope we can do you great justice. So with that in mind, if there are any public comments, Madam City Clerk, let's hear those.
I have no one registered. I believe they must have gotten their comments in during regular public comments, and no one on Zoom.
Understood. We do have, if we can have, Councilmember Silva join me on the podium. We've got some folks here that wish to congratulate you, sir, and recognize your service. So first, I'd like to invite up Representative Young Kim's office. I believe they're here to present something to our council colleague.
Good evening. My name is Abigail Factman here on behalf of Congresswoman Young Kim, and it is an honor to be here tonight to recognize Councilmember Jesus Silva for your accomplishments and your service to the City of Fullerton. And we want to thank you for serving the City of Fullerton with all your heart and your dedication. You have been a longtime advocate for the community since 2016, and we will miss you greatly. So thank you so much for your dedication and commitment to the community, and we wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you so very much.
Then if I may invite Senator Josh Newman's office.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Scott Doe. I'm here from Senator Josh Newman's office. And on behalf of Senator Josh Newman and the state of California and the California State Senate, I'd like to congratulate you on your many years of great service to the city and to the residents, as well as myself personally. I want to thank you, Mr. Silva, for your many years of guidance and mentorship to me as your former math student at Nicholas Junior High, but also right beside you as a colleague here as we work in the public sector. And so, it means a lot to me to be able to work side by side with you personally as well, seeing you be a great, institution in my life growing up. And so, it is an honor for me to present you this certificate of recognition.
And if I may invite Assemblywoman Sharon Quirk Silva. She's actually here, so.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good evening, council members and former Mayor Silva, and I'm just going to acknowledge that I'm going to be very biased here. I do think Fullerton is losing one of their best council members, and from my heart, I've seen it firsthand. A man that has led with integrity, with compassion, and devotion to the city of Fullerton. I've seen the long hours he's put on meetings after working a long day at school, and not only representing the city locally, but at regional boards, taking an interest in the city, not only in his own district, as he was elected at large in his first term and then districted later into, but noting that it wasn't a district, it's the city of Fullerton that compelled him to do this work. A champion for the workers of Fullerton, making sure they had a voice at our city, making sure public safety was represented, and of course, making sure important issues in Fullerton, like our parks and recreation, making sure that he was fighting to keep services open, to look towards housing, knowing that it is a complex issue and that not everybody agrees, but how do we house people in Fullerton? How do we deal with homelessness? And I saw him struggle reading his very thick notebook many times the night before council meetings, taking notes, meeting repeatedly with people who wanted to meet. So I know his devoted service will not stop here. He is not somebody to stop. I'll just end with, I saw him build bridges with sometimes in a divided city and country, with sometimes individuals that people didn't expect that he could, and he would. And he did that intentionally, bringing sports into it when it could crack a smile. Of course, he's a Dodger fan, but knowing how to bring council members together, knowing how to bring community members, and as far as I know, never losing his temper, keeping the grace that he has. Well, not at home sometimes, but the point is, he is a a relationship person. He is somebody who builds bridges, and he'll continue to do that. I love you. Your family loves you. They can't all be here tonight. It's a working time for many, but you will be missed.
And if I may invite Supervisor, now Chairman, Doug Chafee's office.
Hello, everyone. My name is Adriana Farrow. I am here on behalf of Doug Chafee, the chairman of the Orange County Board of Supervisors and your 4th District Supervisor. It's a privilege to be here today to recognize Jesus Silva for all the contributions he has made to the city during his time as mayor. Mr. Silva's dedication to the city of Fullerton is undeniable. He has served this community in many capacities, and his care and passion for the city shows through his work. We thank you for being an advocate for the constituents of Fullerton and guiding the city in its continued development with sincerity. On behalf of Supervisor Chafee, I would like to present you with the Certificate of Recognition in honor of your tenure as a mayor and to thank you for your strong leadership within Orange County's 4th District.
Some mementos I'm honored to present to you, good sir. This is in recognition of your public service. Councilmember Jesus Silva on behalf of Rachel Fullerton. Before, I'm sure Councilmember Silva's got plenty to say, I'd like to allow for, we've got one other gift as well, but I'd like to allow for our council colleagues to say a few words. Councilman Zara, please.
I think, I don't know what to say. We're going to miss you a lot, and I'll definitely reach out to you for advice. I want to thank you for, again, your thoughtfulness and kindness, and for being a bridge builder, and for all the work you did, and the leadership that you showed during your mayorship when you really pushed to really bring real solutions on homelessness, which had been long forgotten before. So I appreciate everything you have done and everything we have worked together. And thank you for also being a leader in this community, and an inspiring leader for your young generations as well. So thank you.
Councilmember Charles, any words?
Oh, this is great. I didn't think I would get an opportunity. Thank you. I would like to also personally thank you for being a mentor to me, and for setting an example of the kind of council person I would like to be in terms of making sure to be open and to listening to folks. And really, when I look at a former student of yours, and growing into someone who is doing such great work in the community, I think it's obvious how many lives you've touched. And I will tell you that some of my college students have told me that they were former students of yours as well, at Cal State Fullerton in my health policy class. So your impact goes so much farther than I think you even know, and will be felt by generations of Fullertonians to come. Thank you so much for your service and continued service in the future, I'm sure.
Councilmember Dunlap, any comments, sir?
Yes. So I actually thought the assembly member was going to kind of steal my thunder with this comment, but instead it was kind of a nice segue into it. So I'm going to tell a personal story because I actually remember the day because it's, as any UCLA football fan remembers this season, there's one game in particular that's kind of ingrained in your brain, and that's the loss to Oregon. But it was funny because I was watching the game at home. I was really excited to watch the game. I thought we were actually going to go to Oregon for it, but decided not to. And I was sitting next to my wife, and Bruins were hanging tough. It was a tie game, and then Oregon scores to go ahead. And then out of nowhere, they do an onside kick, and they recover the ball. And at that point, it was kind of like the energy got sucked out of the house. Obviously, I was devastated. And, I get a text message, and, my wife assumed that it was from, like, my brother or my dad. She said, "Oh, who's that from?" And I said, "Oh, it's Jesus." She said, "Jesus, you don't really talk to Jesus." And I said, "Well, it's amazing for a guy who can be on the opposite sides of so many issues on the dais. He likes all the right sports teams, and aside from that, he's a good guy to boot. And so, I've enjoyed sort of the camaraderie and certainly the sports banter, and we'll miss that. But true to promise, we talked about you being the champion, and I want to let you know I was able to find this. Now, we had to scale back the spending because I didn't want to trigger any kind of campaign limits or anything like that, but we do have the champion belt for you. So I wanted to make sure that, this is the honorary belt for the champ, so I wanted to make sure you presented this to you. So thank you.
All right. There you go.
Boy, council member, are you sure you didn't trigger a campaign spending limit? It's got a lot of bling on it. Well deserved. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, sir.
Yes, I need to temporarily demote this poinsettia. Okay. And with that, what I wanted to point out is that all of us in any competition, and here we're engaged in competition of ideas and solutions. And in that event, strong effort and determination should always be admired and appreciated. So even among those who are working, so to speak, on the other side of an issue, it's very much, again, a sports analogy, which, as in the Olympics, the very peak performers are up against people who are also very peak performers. And the fact that not all of them can win shouldn't detract from the point that that very strong opposition is what pushes each of us to our very best. So in that way, we are allied in an effort to push things in a better direction. I have on many occasions dealt with Mr. Silva and his dogged determination, and he would come back and really very well represent his point of view and the constituents that he was looking out for. He and I also shared a tendency of wanting to stand up for the underdog in many situations. And Jesus was always willing and able to contact me and want to meet in person and to talk over a situation and see if we could find some common ground, which we did on many occasions. So as I mentioned to you prior to the meeting, I do appreciate all those things about you, Jesus, and you're a fighter. And I will miss, in fact, I'm the only one up here who served, well, I guess perhaps when you served as mayor. And so former Mayor Silva, Godspeed. And I'm hoping that I can still utilize your counsel on occasion. And I'm sure I would hope to hear from you. All right. Thanks. Good luck, Jesus.
Well, sir, one final thing. I said much of what I was going to say earlier, but from very humble beginnings comes a humble man. So on behalf, again, the grateful Fullerton, may I present this?
I got a place for the suit. Out of my driveway.
And then, sir, podium's yours.
With that, I do want to take a few minutes of personal privilege, if you will. We're not done yet? Oh, wait, there's more?
We have one other detail, but I certainly didn't want to do it, sir, and deprive you of that. It's to present flowers to,
Well, we're going to do one
on
more.
behalf of
All
the
right.
staff. One more thing, sir, just, I thought it was your thing, not mine.
All right, so these I'm going to present to my darling wife, who has guided me, been there for me, and encouraged me, and has not allowed me to shortchange myself in certain matters. I've always said, you're my other half, as we say in the Latino community, mi media naranja. She completes me. So, honey, thank you so very much. And with that, I do want to just address you all for a few minutes, not the whole thing. But before we do that, I do want to make a request of all of you. So 12:13 in La Virgen de Guadalupe, the ceremony just happened. But another special moment happened today. It's my dad's birthday. He's 85. He's watching. So I would like to sing happy birthday to him. If you could join me in it, it would be great. His name is Joaquin. So I'll start it, and if you can join me, I would really appreciate it. Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Joaquin. Happy birthday to you. And many more, Dad. Thank you so very much. And I'll just start by saying, I do want to, I said, family. I would not be here, and I would not have been able to accomplish all I've had without my parents, who immigrated from Mexico when I was 5 years old. So up the I-10, they come with 4 kids. My dad, sixth grade education. No, my dad, third grade education. My mother, sixth grade education. No English, but they had the courage to know that they needed to really give us an opportunity. So up they came. And it didn't hit me till I was in my late 20s that the courage they had to come to a new country with no language and no literacy in the new language, but still determined to give us an opportunity. So I want to acknowledge my parents. But also, just as importantly or more, I want to acknowledge my immediate family, my wife, like I said, Sharon, the kids, Molly, Catherine, Patrick, and Jack Ryan. They've all been there. My nieces and nephews, my brother, Luis Silva, who's here today, along with the beautiful wife, Leslie, and my wonderful little grandkid when she wants to be, Isabel. And if you were here, 3 years ago, she was in my arms when I became mayor here. So we'll have to take a picture so we can, mark the event. But thank you. And then a special acknowledgement to my dear cousin, who would have been here, but she's in the hospital with kidney stones, and she's watching right now as well. So that's the kind of family we have here. And again, thank you, everyone. And of course, my favorite mother-in-law here, Joey here, who's always been there and supported us. Thank you. And another thank you goes to the city staff. I've always said that you don't know what's going on until you're in those shoes. And joining the council, I thought I knew a little bit about how the city operates, having gone through it with my wife 8 years prior, right? Being there, helping her. But again, you don't really know what's going on until you're in those shoes. So all the staff, city manager on down, to the clerk, everyone here, public safety, and the council members. It's a challenging job to run a city. And what we were able to do during the pandemic, coming out of it, it's tremendous efforts that they made. So if they're watching, and if not, please give my best to all the city staff who made the city run and make it possible for us to keep moving forward. And I'll just continue with the thank yous, but I also just want to share a story. And it kind of touches on what Dr. Charles said, and what many of us have here in common, that I'm 58 years old. I lived in Fullerton for 31 years. So I've also lived here the longest of any place I've lived. And I came to really love the city. And that's one of the reasons I'm here. When I moved here, I also started to transition careers. I said, well, I'm not enjoying what I'm doing, so I transitioned into teaching. And one of the things that I decided to do at that time was, if I'm going to teach, I want to teach in the community I live in. So I made an effort to live in, well, I was living in Fullerton, so I made an effort to work in Fullerton. And out of that, I really have a great time, and still have a great time, because I do get to see my former students. That's Mr. Doe right here, is one. I do see them out in the town. Say hello to them. They remember me, and I always start the conversation. Did I yell at you? Because if I did, I'm sorry. But most of the time is no. So, and I made that commitment because I wanted to be part of the community. And that was my first phase of being of service to my community, working where I live. The next phase was being involved with the school, with the parents. And what I saw when I was working, when I was teaching the first few years, was that some of the community was not being represented. At one point, back in the late 90s, early 80s, early 2000s, all 5 council members lived within a mile radius of each other, up in the northern part of town. None of them lived east, west, or south part of town. And working at Nicholas and seeing the community, I really felt strong that they needed a voice, because it's always, I think for most of us, well, it used to be for most of us, if you lived up at the north part of town, the only time you went to the south part of town was when you were driving to get on the freeway. And I really saw that as them not having, them, when I say them, the south part of town not having a voice, my parents, my students not having a voice. And that encouraged me to get involved. It encouraged me to coach basketball in the community. I coached here at Fullerton High School for 4 years. I coached a Survey for 10 years. So I started getting involved, and that led to Parks and Rec Commissioner. And then ultimately that led to being on City Council. So, but my point has always been, how can I be of service to my community? And as I leave now, I will still be involved. And sometimes it's a little easier to lobby from out here than back there. So I will still be involved, and looking forward to doing that. And being on council, I've always tried to be fair and just. I've really made an effort to keep partisan politics out of it, and always think what's best for the city. And sometimes at the expense of my own district. Yes, I was in District 3, but I've always felt that districts are great because they give you a representative from your area that you know. But we also have to keep in mind that we represent the whole city. And as myself and the Mayor Pro Tem, we're the last 2 council members who were elected citywide. So now, it's district. So, but I've always meant to do that. I said, what can I do? What do my actions move the city forward? And I like to think that most of them did. Some of them we may agree or disagree, but that was my effort. And let's see. Oh, lastly, a couple of things my wife mentioned that I have championed. I've championed housing. I understand how important housing is. I understand how all levels of housing are, from the market rate down to the affordable housing rate. It didn't go every year or every other year. Every year I had 1 or 2 parents come to me when I was teaching at Nicholas and ask, does the city have any affordable housing? And I would always have to say, no, we don't offer, or if we did, it's all booked up. So, and I know that was part of the joke with the bill that was the champion for housing, but I really do take it to heart that we all need a dignified place to live at. And some of you here at my last regular council meeting, I challenged the council to get a inclusionary housing ordinance on board, so that we know, without a doubt, when a developer comes in, they know we need 50% affordable housing. There's no questions and no discussions. It just happens. It'll make it easier for everyone. And that leads me back to back when we were trying to get some affordable housing here at Baskin. Baskin Commonwealth. We were going to have permanent supportive housing. And if you know anything about that, that's just housing where you have counselors and staff on site to help some of the residents who may need a little help. And there was a big backlash against it. I took a group to one of a development that was permanent supportive housing. And from the street, you could not tell a difference. Inside, everything was clean. They had the counselors, no issues. I went back and checked a couple of weeks ago, still no issues. There's an elementary school right next door to it. There hasn't been any issues. And I recall one of the residents from Fullerton that I took there, really against any type of housing or any type of permanent supportive housing, question, and we're walking, looking to the space, to the place, and I remember her question. She says, well, how do I get here? How do I get a nice place like this? And then the young lady that responded, well, first of all, you have to lose all your assets. You have to be out on the streets for at least 12 months and really lose any sense of reality. And then you have to come in, and you have to be willing to get help, go through transition from a shelter to transitional housing to counseling. And then if you go through all those steps, if there's a place, then we can put you in here and help you get back on your feet. But it was just astonishing to hear that and say, nobody wants to be homeless. We want to give them a hand up. And that's always stuck with me. And I've always, and I will, and always will be a big supporter of affordable and any kind of housing. But with that, I do want to thank you, everyone. Let's see what else. Yes, I think I'm done, or I can go for another 20 minutes if you like, but I won't. But anyway, Council, thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me the time. It's a pleasure working with you, and I just hope that whatever is discussed and fought over back there, it stays there, and when you leave, go in the back, you move on. I know sometimes that's hard. I found it hard sometimes because we are passionate about our commitments up there, and best of luck. Keep up the good work, and make us Fullertonians proud of our city. And with that, everyone, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. And yes, 2024, somebody was saying, right? Godspeed, God bless, and thank you.
Next item on the agenda is Mayor Pro Tem selection. We will ask the public for public comment. Madam City Clerk, are there any members of the public that registered to make comment?
No one registered to speak in chambers, and I see no hands raised in Zoom.
All right, then I'll ask the city attorney to direct nomination process, please.
Thank you, Mayor. So at this time, nominations for the office of mayor are open. The mayor shall serve as your presiding officer in the upcoming year. No second is required for a nomination. Are there any nominations at this time?
Darn. Interesting.
Well,
I would nominate Fred Jung.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Are there any other nominations?
May I just ask a clarification question, being the new one here? So this is not where we vote on each nomination as they come in. We can nominate multiple and have the discussion after?
That is correct. So any council member may make a nomination. Once all nominations are completed, we'll close the nominations and then vote on them in order.
Okay. Well, I nominate that we follow the existing city policy, which would ask that the mayor pro tem be made mayor, and I nominate Bruce Whitaker for mayor.
Thank you, council member. Are there any other nominations at this time? So hearing no further nominations, it would be appropriate for the council to vote to close nominations, and then we could proceed. City clerk could proceed to call a vote.
Are we allowed to discuss any of these nominations?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You can discuss now or after closing the nominations. It's up to the council.
I think it would be preferable to discuss while we're open and keep things open so that if any other nominations become possible. And just, again, a point of clarification to make sure that I'm following the rules here. Would I be able to also nominate someone else, or is it just one and done.
There's no limitation on nominations. You can nominate.
Okay.
whoever you like.
Well, then I would like to have a discussion while the nomination process is still open.
Go ahead.
I would like to ask if the city attorney would give us any, explain to the public the traditional process according to the current policy.
Certainly. So policies are established by the city council, and as such, they are advisory. There is a current policy in place where the most senior member, which has not served as mayor, is the mayor pro tem is moved into the mayor position, and then the next most senior person is the mayor pro tem. But as I mentioned, the policy is advisory, and the policy itself allows for the council to select whoever they vote by a majority vote. They can select whoever they want to serve as the mayor.
And could you explain, please, the current standing as far as council members and their their term of service?
Absolutely. That is set forth in the staff report. The city clerk has provided the standing. So under the policy, she identifies, the outgoing mayor is Mayor Young, who's then placed at the bottom of the list. Councilmember Zara's listed, has been 4 years without serving as mayor. Councilmember Dunlap has been 2 years without serving as mayor. Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker has been 1 year since serving as mayor. Councilmember Charles, new to the council. And that's the current order as ranked according to the staff report.
And according to your interpretation of the policy, who would, for the public record, who would be the next in line?
So interpretation is up to the council. So it would ultimately be the council member Zara or Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker. But again, the interpretation, the application of the policy is a decision of the council.
And I would just like to state also that as I'm reading the sentence of the city policy, it says, based on the new selection of Mayor Pro Tem policy, Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker would serve as mayor. And in the years that I've been here in Fullerton, that was the more regular route, is that a person who is Mayor Pro Tem would then serve as mayor. And I think to restore that would add a sense of returning to normal in a way that we haven't had in the past couple of years, and would allow also for the districts to rotate around geographically, even if we're thinking of it that way. I am strongly in support of following the existing city policy that was voted on by prior city councils and returning to what would be considered a normal rotation. And I have a question that I wasn't able to find the answer to, and I apologize to staff that I'm putting you on the spot because I wasn't able to get this question to you to say, but do we know how has it been the usual and customary practice in years of being here where mayors would serve multiple years in succession? From what I've seen, it rotates around.
More recently, as rotated around, it is also not uncommon in a little further back in history that the mayor has been mayor for multiple years in a row. So we've seen a little bit of everything.
When you say further back, is that the 90s, the 2000s? How further back?
I would say it's probably back early, probably about 10, 15 years ago, and trying to track it based on my time here.
Pre-2011, I would say, because 2011 was a turning point on this council,
Yes.
as we all who've lived here are certainly aware. So certainly in kind of the modern history, it's been in rotating around. And I think also in terms of districts, thinking about districts, I mean, not thinking about people, honestly, although I see that does match up here in what we're talking about. But thinking about the district representation, it is incredibly important. As was mentioned earlier, we've had situations where people only in one part of the city were represented on council. And being mayor pro tem is somewhat ceremonial, but it also includes agenda setting powers. It includes control of the meeting. It includes control of where we sit up here. So, there are certainly powers that exist. And thinking just in terms of districts and not people, I think we need to get to a place where we rotate around by district, and District 5 absolutely, which, by the way, now includes the entirety of downtown and the harbor corridor, needs to have, representation in that mayoral succession, which is why I made my nomination that we follow the existing city policy and Bruce Whitaker move into mayor spot.
All right, any other further discussion?
I would just say, respect the points that were made, but I tend to disagree with that. I understand rotation is important to some people, but I think that part of serving in a body like this is not just serving the public, but it's kind of being respectful and being collegial to your colleagues. And I think that respect is earned in order to be given. And I think it's important for, any body to have discretion as to who serves as the representative leader. And so from that standpoint, I guess my views would, kind of counter yours there, that I believe it should be up to the, the commission or the body to decide who should represent them in that sense. I guess that also prompts a bigger discussion about districts and their validity. And, look, I don't need to debate state law there, but I just, would simply make my views known that I believe that the council should choose who they believe can best represent the council. Those are my comments.
Any other discussion on the matter?
Yes.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Council member,
If
please.
I may, yes. If we are to start and to build bridges and be collegial and friendly and work together, I think this may not be the best way to do that. District 5 has been the most disadvantaged district in neighborhoods for decades. To deny mayoral representation is emphasizing and reinforcing the notion that South Fullerton is still neglected. And this would be an unfortunate start to what would have been a hopeful next 2 years in working together to build bridges. I would have been okay to follow the current policy and have our current mayor pro tem become mayor, with District 5 having the mayor pro tem representation. And I will stick to that.
Any other discussion on the matter?
Yes, I would like to make a comment, although if Councilman Whitaker would like to go next, I'll yield.
Council member Charles, please, go ahead.
Thank you. I do think that it's important that we follow city policy, that we are the ones who uphold what the policies of the city are, that we should not exempt ourselves from that power. I do think it's also important to think about why we have districts in the first place. It wasn't Fullerton that chose to do it. It was because the city was sued. And it was sued because of the lack of representation of populations that are majority parts of the city, and to give those populations their representation. And if we continue with saying District 1 and only District 1 gets to sit in the mayor's seat, and again, this is not a personal thing. This is absolutely simply thinking geographically and by the districts here. It would open ourselves up for saying we have not met that obligation that having district representation brings. And I think it wouldn't be a good start. And I do hope that we can agree to return to the city policy that was elected by a previous council that I did not sit on, but I uphold the policy, and I can foresee in the future that it would take me quite a few years to get into that line. But I do think that it is important that we start that process of rotating, where mayor would go to 4 and then to 5 and then to 2 and then to 3. I mean, we can see this in the long term. I hope that in the long term, we can think now for our vote for the long term, instead of saying that the only important district to have that representation is District 1. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, sir.
You know, I was a believer in the rotation and followed that policy, even to my detriment sometimes when certain supporters or partisans or whoever questioned me on why I supported certain individuals for mayor. But I did that because I thought that was a good force for keeping things in order up here. However, the first time in recent years that was broken was when I was up to be Mayor Pro Tem. And I was bypassed a few years ago. Councilmember Flores in the audience, she remembers that well as well. And that started us on this route now of having to make differing determinations than had been the practice in the past. So that accrued to Councilmember Zara's disadvantage in the last cycle, and it's not my preference, but that's more or less where we're at right now.
All right, if there's no further discussion.
I would like to actually add one more comment. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Where
please.
we are at is the start of a brand new council with a brand new possibility of moving forward. And I hope that we can move forward and, forgetting what has happened in the past, start here with a fresh start. That is what I'm looking for, to uphold the existing city policy as a fresh new start and just reset.
All right, very well. All right, Mr. City Attorney, are you conducting the nomination? If the nomination period is over, there are 2 names for the nominations. If you
That's
want to
correct.
conduct the vote.
So at this point, it would be appropriate for the city clerk to take a vote on the nominations in the order they were taken.
And would you like a vote to close the nominations on mayor also?
Yes, if we may, close nominations, if I'll seek a motion to do that.
Is there a first and a second to close nominations?
I will close nominations accordingly and make that motion.
Second.
Oh, now I gotta do new names. Councilmember Dunlap. Councilmember Charles.
Aye.
Councilmember Zara.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker.
Aye.
Mayor Jung.
Aye.
Passes unanimously to close the nominations. And we will take the vote on the actual nominations in the order they were made, and we will stop when there is a majority vote on a nomination. So we will start with Councilmember Jung for mayor for the next year, and we'll take the vote in the same order. Councilmember Dunlap.
Yes.
Councilmember Charles.
No.
Councilmember Zara.
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker.
Yes.
And Mayor Jung.
Aye.
Well, that has a majority vote, so we will cease the voting on the nominations for mayor. And that means that no one needs to change seats at this moment.
We will now seek nominations for Mayor Pro Tem. I will seek the city attorney once more to lead us through the nomination period.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, I'll be opening nominations for the office of Mayor Pro Tem.
I would like to nominate Councilmember Zara for Mayor Pro Tem.
I will nominate Councilmember Whitaker.
Are there any further nominations? If there are no further nominations, the council may discuss, or they may make a motion to close nominations at this time.
I'll make I would like to discuss a little bit. That's going to be pretty common.
Councilmember.
So I would like to also point out that it is imperative that the most senior person, or excuse me, the most senior district who has been unrepresented, honestly, gets in this line and is represented. Again, District 5 now includes the entirety of downtown, plus the entirety of the Harbor Corridor, which is one of the main economic engines, the other one being on my side on District 3 of Cal State Fullerton. But this corridor of the city, the businesses, they look to their council person for representing them, the people who live in that area. I strongly urge that. And I also want to point out that I would, again, I'm looking forward to next year, already thinking that District 2 needs to get in line next year. And there's
no reason why District 4 should again be in the same spot. And it is not personal, but we need to start thinking about the city as an integrated whole. We need to get back to working in a working way following the policy. And at the very least, we can do that with the mayor pro tem spot.
Do any of the other council members have any other comments they'd like to make? Mr.
Just
Mayor Pro
one
Tem,
generally, which
please.
is, it should be acknowledged that we represent a very diverse constituency. And with the creation of districts now causing even more contrasting opinions on a geographical basis in the city, it's important that we do operate with the entire city in mind up here. Disagreement is not hate. On this dais, we can disagree without being disagreeable. And that would really be my wish going forward. I personally have been disappointed with the district system because it does cause a certain balkanization and people looking at one corner of the city this way or that way. And I believe that that's unfortunate. It has created even more disparity and a little bit more polarization. And the worst thing is, it's disenfranchised voters. When we were at citywide elections, every 2-year cycle, we got an opportunity to vote for the candidates. 2 city council members in 1 2-year cycle and 3 in the other. So I, as a resident, could vote for all 5 of my council members. And I would be active every election cycle. Now, under districts, we're limited to only 1 vote for 1 council member every 4 years. So in most situations, this would be declared a disenfranchisement of being able to select our representation in the city of Fullerton. But again, that's where events have put us at this point. And I think that focus on this district versus that, again, is something that is another wedge, one that we need to look beyond or through as much as possible. It is important that this will be a very difficult year ahead of us. So I would like to see a council that can maintain its composure up here. I said that when I stepped down as mayor last time. But that would be my wish, and that's certainly something I'm dedicated to. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Zara, please.
Yeah, I think there's nothing more than disenfranchising voters than dissing an entire part of the city. But, you know, having come from Syria, this is not uncommon over there. This is not a good start, obviously, to a council that is looking backwards to and almost looking at vendettas in a way. But rather than looking forward, and I hope our community is watching, and regardless of the outcome, it is ultimately us all working together as a community, regardless of what happens up here.
All right, with that said, seek a motion to close nominations.
So moved.
I'll second. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Dunlap?
Just to close the nominations?
Yes, close
Aye.
nominations.
Aye.
Councilmember Charles? To close
In order,
nominations.
can we still have discussion after we close the nominations?
No.
Then no, I don't vote to close the nomination.
Councilmember Zara?
There's nothing more to discuss. I think it's baked. Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker?
Aye.
Mayor Jung?
Aye.
Passes 4-1.
All right, Madam City Clerk, please conduct the last.
Again,
vote.
we'll also do these in the order the nominations were made. And again, we will stop when someone gets a majority vote. The first nomination, I believe, was Councilmember Zara. And we'll start with Councilmember Dunlap.
No.
Councilmember Charles.
Yes.
Councilmember Zara.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker.
No.
And Mayor Jung.
No.
Okay, that motion does not pass. We will move to the next nomination, which is for Mayor Whitaker. Did I say Jung earlier? I apologize if I did. I wrote down the wrong name. It'll be Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker to be Mayor Pro Tem. And we'll do roll call vote. Councilmember Dunlap.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember Charles.
I'll get there. No.
I need the nameplates back. Councilmember Zara.
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker.
Aye.
And Mayor Jung.
Aye.
And that vote has a majority, so Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker will remain as Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker.
Refreshments are available in the lobby for everyone to enjoy.
Mayor, we are not quite done yet. This part gets a little awkward. We're supposed to make presentations to the outgoing mayor from the new mayor, so perhaps the Mayor Pro Tem would like to assist with the presentation so you're not presenting to yourself.
It's all right. We're just going to call it a day for
Okay.
everybody. We are adjourned. Good night. Good evening, everyone.